Hello, everyone. Today is Tuesday, June 24th. This is day two, week 12 of Hotel Evening and Weekend Platoon. Today, we are going to cover more Django and ORM. But before we get into that, I want to go over Django quickly. What's Django? In its simplest form, what is it?
It's a Python framework.
And a Python framework is just what? It's a Python backend framework. And essentially, it's just what? Just code that someone else wrote, right? Yes? Yes, you're making me nervous. Yes, right?
Yes.
Just code that someone else wrote. It's a Python backend framework that we are going to leverage to interact with what?
The
Keyword, it's a,
database.
there you go. Keyword, it's a backend framework, right? What's React? Vue.
Front
You're
end.
familiar with it. It's a front end framework. And you use it to interact with what?
The back end.
No.
Oh, you use it to interact with the what is that called?
The DOM.
Yeah.
It's just a front end framework, right?
Okay.
Now, granted, look, they're both frameworks, right? But they're intended for different purposes. Some are front end frameworks, some are back end frameworks, but they're both just code that someone else wrote that you are going to leverage to build your application, right? And Django is a back end framework that interacts with your database, so you don't have to do what?
Write SQL.
Yeah, right, raw SQL or interact with it with Python, right? So it just makes it easier, right? It's a framework, but in essence, is also a layer of abstraction, right? So keep that in mind, right? Frameworks are really, really, really nice um, because you don't have to maintain the code, and it makes your ability to kind of like um, mesh services together a lot better in just in a more efficient manner. But it also abstracts exactly what's happening, right? How that code is working. It's a little bit of magic. So keep that in mind. Um, Make sure you understand what's happening under the hood because that's going to become really important. That's ultimately the crux of problem solving in software engineering, understanding deeply how things work together and being able to kind of break it down and parse it into small pieces that you can debug. All right, so today we're just going to talk about more Django and our ORM. We'll go ahead and share my screen. Oh, did I mess that up? Give me a second. Okay, go ahead, Art.
If we get some time tonight, can we talk a little bit more about the how to use that get ignore? The reason I'm asking is because I really wanted to do a pull request yesterday, but I was concerned that I was going to send up too much information. So I guess need a little more clarity on how to use that get ignore. So I just commit what I need to.
Yeah, we can do it right now. All right, can everyone see my screen? This is actually a
Yeah.
really good question. I just created this like literally a minute ago. Uh, and you can say that I created it at 5:27. Literally right before I started class. And it's just Tuesday, and I created a folder called Django Project because I know that's what we're going to work on. So here I could just do touch, get ignore, right? Get ignore. That did not work. Did it work? Am I just slow? It did work. All right, so here we go. See, let's say I have a folder that's got a bunch of like, and I actually do this a lot. Um, I'll have, I'll give you a real example actually. Uh, I have a test security folder on the current project that I'm working on at work. And what that does is it has a bunch of dummy data that flags Security Hub on AWS and sends me messages in my email saying, hey, the code that you just pushed up has a lot of vulnerabilities, right? But all the code in that folder is just a dummy folder that has dummy code that I'm using to test if my integrations are working, right? Like I add like fake security keys, packages that are really old that have known vulnerabilities. I like fake install them. I put credentials that are fake, so it flags it, right? And I ignore that folder because I'm strictly using that locally for developmental purposes, and that doesn't need to be in the online GitLab that we're using. Make sense? So I would have something like test. This is literally what I have right now in the project that I'm working on. And in here, I would have a bunch of different stuff. I'd have like a config YAML file, right? And I'd have like, these are all dummy keys, right? But like username, max power 2000, key, it's always like a really long hash or whatever, right? And this stuff obviously, or you could have like an API key. Let's make it an API key. Why not? API key. And obviously you don't want to send this stuff up to GitHub, right? Those are exposed credentials, right? So you literally just go to your git ignore, and I want everything in test security to be ignored. So you literally just write it security, and I want everything in that folder to be ignored. And you're going to notice something in your ID the minute that I set this file. I didn't notice it here. Maybe I did it wrong. That's okay. We'll work through it. How can I tell if I'm going to push this up or not?
You do get status.
Yeah, very good, Cisco. Good status.
Yeah, you got to set up a Git repo first. So
What's the command?
get a Git.
Oh, my bad.
Remember, I literally just created this folder 12 minutes ago. I haven't initialized this as a Git folder. So you have to do that. Okay, let me do git init. Okay. Now the folder did something. What did it do? It's really subtle in terms of color. What did it do?
Kind of grayed out a bit.
Yeah, it means it's no longer being tracked by Git. Right? So now I can tell you this, when I look in here, it's not going to track the Git security folder. The only thing it's going to track is the Git ignore. So when I come in here, and sure enough, those are the only changes they're tracking. Right? So if I go back in here, I go inside the folder and I do some kind of Docker file, right? And this Docker file has, just a bunch of vulnerabilities, right? I'm just gonna write a bunch of vulnerabilities. I don't even know if I spelled that right. Cool. You're gonna notice that, hey, that's another change. And I'm gonna have another file, and this is gonna be AWS config .yaml, right? It's gonna have, user, me, max power 2001, why not? API key, whatever. Save it, right? So this is saved, boom. This is saved, boom. Config is also saved, boom. My ignore is also saved. But once I go into, and I can clear this, and I can do git status again, right? The only file that it's tracking is git ignore, because I've hidden the entire folder. Test security, and it's all grayed out. I put it inside my git ignore. That means when I do git add, git commit, it's not going to track it. Make sense?
Yep.
Super, super useful. And a lot of the times, a really common use case is you'll have literally a config, right? You'll have an application that's, I'll go ahead and do it here. I'll mock it here real quickly. You have like an app, right? Inside an app, you'll have some kind of, like literally some kind of application, right? And in here, you'll have config and get config, right? And you'll be pulling your config from something in your git ignore, right? And then here you will have just, a bunch of imports and you have all your code here. And then here you might be structuring whatever's inside config and you'd be pulling, like, let's say you were running some, I don't know, some function, doesn't matter what it is, right? And then you'll be using it. You'll be like, user, and then you'd pull config and you have user in there, right? Key, config, API key, right? And then you do, you do like, some kind of fetch or whatever. Some kind of API call here, right? And notice that when you run it locally, you're going to run your function locally and it's going to pull the information that you need. But when you go to add, you're only going to add your app code. And this right here, it's not going to be read because config is hidden inside your git ignore folder. So what will happen is when someone pulls down your code, right, they're not going to have this folder of test security or whatever you want to call it. I just call it test security, but you can call it whatever. They're not going to have that folder, but they're going to know. And in here, you're going to also have, like a README. You're going to have some kind of README, and it'll give you all the data on, right, how do you run this application, how to run this app. And typically first step will be, update config to whatever, do, pip install or start EMB, do pip install, Python, setup.sh or run, setup.sh or something like that. Normal structure of any application once you get to the job. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So credentials will never be in there. And typically you'll have linters. So let's say, this is outside the scope of your question a little bit, but it helps to know exactly what it ultimately looks like. Let's say I had an app in here, and in here, I didn't do this because I was lazy, and I had G-monies. And then I actually I was frustrated and I just pasted the key in there because I couldn't get anything to work, whatever. Right. And then you'll go to do something like a git add, git commit, and then you go to git push, right? It'll block you, right? Your connection to the online repo will scan your code and notice there's credentials in there and reject it and say, hey, you have credentials in there. Right? At AWS is called AWS Defender, right? But your own job might have something different. So there'll be rules in place, right? And that's a security rule, but there's also like linting rules. Like if you haven't run Prettier on your code or whatever formatting tool that you have, if you haven't fixed it, right, it'll reject the push. Right now, you're pushing willy-nilly to your own repository or to our repositories. When you get to your job, if they have an actual established CI/CD system and have good internal tooling, you're not going to be able to just push willy-nilly, right? If there's any kind of security vulnerabilities, it's going to be pushed back. If the linting rules are not quite right or your format's not quite right, it's going to be pushed back. If you have any kind of credentials in there, it's pushed back. If your application is using Python 3.12 and you're trying to push up 3.9 because that's what you used, it's going to push it back. Make sense? Now, very few companies are at that level, but you might find yourself with a really high functioning team where everything is set up. It's going to protect you from making a mistake. You guys heard about that CrowdStrike thing, right? Or like a while ago, HBO Max, like they sent an email. You guys remember that one?
When all the airline stuff went down from
Yeah,
update.
yeah. Yeah, and if you ever follow like tech Twitter or something, like a common joke is like I see that the intern just got promoted to senior dev, you know, because that's like obviously it was an intern or someone very junior, yeah, that broke that or that probably messed that up. But the joke there is if there was someone so junior, there should have been systems in place that would have prevented them from that level of access. So it's actually not their fault. It's everybody's fault above them because there wasn't like, things in place to prevent that from happening. Make sense? So it's everyone's fault except for that intern or that junior dev. Someone let that happen, and that goes on now. All right, I ranted there for a while. Sorry about that. Hopefully that was, although everything that I just covered is actually really useful. It will be useful to you later. And then one of my favorite commands, git restore. Why did that not work? Whatever, I'm gonna do it the gorilla way. Right now. No. Okay, git reset. How's that not working? Whatever, I'm gonna remove this so we can get started. Any other questions, guys? About this? Good question. Clear as mud? Awesome. Boom, boom, boom. All righty. So that's that. Cool. All right. Today we're going to talk about more Django and ORM topics covered. Learn about models.fields, create model methods, data backup before a database changes, creating a super user, run Django server, and then interacting with the admin site, which is just a nice little GUI that Django has. So starter code, this link actually doesn't work. So we're just going to use the code that you guys had from yesterday. This is just at the end of day one, the starter code. And if we don't, that's okay. We'll start from scratch here at the beginning and then we'll kind of run through it. So it's not a big deal. We're trying to get that fixed. Okay, lesson. Earlier, we created a Pokemon model, but we only touched the tip of the iceberg when it comes to model fields. Let's take a step further and take a look at some useful fields and features. Useful model fields. You're going to update your Pokemon model with these additional fields. This you already saw from DjangoDB import models, right? And here, what are you adding to your Pokemon class?
You're adding name, level, date encountered and captured, fields.
Yeah, and they're just what in your database in Postgres? They're just what?
Columns and rows.
Yeah. So each Pokemon will be a row, but each of their attributes, right, is going to be a column, right? A name column, a level column, a data column. And look at this, right? You guys probably already figured it out. Models char field. That's kind of looks like varchar, right? Integer field, man, that just looks like it's an integer from a normal, you know, class, right? Same thing with date field, right? The names are a little different, right? But this awfully feels like you're just creating it. Oh, sorry, did that just cut out? Oh, sorry. That awfully feels like you're just creating it on Postgres, right? So the syntax is a little different, but when you read this, you should be able to, it's kind of like a one-to-one matching, right? Right, even the syntax kind of looks the same, right? The other one's varchar, but this is char field. This is integer field. The other is integer. That's the same idea, right? So now you're just using, right, Python, right, Django to create these things. And a really helpful thing about ORMs, right, these frameworks is it just makes it faster. It makes development faster, less mistake prone. This thing I want to touch on just very briefly, but not too in depth because it's a little confusing. You're sometimes going to have the ability to set a property to null true. That means that that specific column can be null. That's it. Hey, you can have a null value. And then sometimes you have blank true, which means that specific column can be left blank by the user. That's it. Don't overthink it for right now. I'm not really quite sure why they harped on this. You might not even run into it. But this is important to remember if you run into it. Make sense?
Yep.
Alrighty, so field type. These are the field types, right? Char field, text field, slug field, email, a comma separated integer field, UUID field, right? Setting null. Okay, if you have to set both unique true and blank true, in this situation, null equals true is required to avoid unique constraint violations when saving multiple objects with blank values. If you understood all that, congratulations. If you didn't, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Eventually, you will learn this specific thing. It's kind of like I don't want to call it an edge case, but something that you shouldn't dive too deep into. Initially, and this is what I would do, I would try to set everything to have a value, like require everything to have a value, even if it's null. It's going to make it a little bit easier for you. Make sense? Or you can have everything set a value that isn't null. Have something in there, right? How you deal with no value or a null value is slightly more involved. But initially, you shouldn't really mess with it. Make sure everything has a value, and then you work from there. Make sense?
Yep.
Some people almost even will avoid using it, and instead of they'll just use a string, call it none. It's technically a value, right? All right. So, and these are just other field types that you're going to eventually get to learn. Here's your foreign key, right? Date time fields that are complicated to work with. Here's the many-to-many field. How you connect multiple tables in a database, right? What kind of relationship is it? One-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many. And then just other fields that you don't necessarily need to know for right now. Field type, you have a JSON field type in case you wanted to save like a JSON object. Improving the Pokemon model. Python manage PY, make migrations. You need to provide a default value in the shell if using a previously existing DB, Python manage.py. So here we're going to work through it, but we're going to work through it from scratch. And I'm going to have you walk me through it. I was in here yesterday. You guys learned it. But here I have my Django project. So let's create a Django project. See if you can remember this without actually looking at anything. And if you need to look at something, that's totally fine. Let me see, more. This is day 2. I want this to be day 1, just in case we need it. All right, so here we go. We're going to create a Django project. How do you do it from scratch? This folder is completely empty. It's Django_project I just created a couple minutes ago. What's the first thing you need to do? I CD'd already into the project. Now the next thing I need to do is what?
Do Django start project.
I'm missing one thing beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to install Django, but first I need to what? I need to isolate my environment. Right now
yeah.
I'm
You gotta do that. Yeah, you gotta do the virtual environment. So Python-m vn. Yeah.
Yep, VENV. We'll just do it like that. Okay, so I'm gonna create this environment. Boom. Then I'm gonna activate it. A quick source, right? Source, and then here I'm just gonna do just VNV activate, right? I can tell because it's gonna light up. There you go. My folder name lit up right here on the right-hand side. Boom, Django project. All right, now I have my Django project, right? What am I gonna do now?
Now you're
Sorry,
gonna
you
do.
activated already?
What's up?
You activated already?
Yep, I activated it. Now what?
Now you gotta install the Django.
I gotta install Django, right?
The Django.
Yeah. Pip install Django, right?
Yep.
Django like this.
Yep.
Boom. Okay. Cool. What do you notice about my changes here in my VS code? What do you notice?
The new
Look at
files.
yeah, yeah. What would be a good thing to do here?
Look in them.
No, no. I just created a virtual environment. There's nothing really there.
Create your requirements.txt.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that. But you know what would be really dope right here? A git ignore. And what do I want? That virtual environment file? I don't need any of that. I don't want it tracked. Okay, that works. What else should I ignore?
The lib file and the lib and the bin file, maybe.
Lib.
Mm-hmm. And the Python v and config file. Oh, you left out a v.
I, I, D, and D. Include looks like a folder. Bin. What did you notice there? What did you notice there?
Grayed out. They're not
Yeah.
tracked.
No, it's not tracking. I don't need them to track all these. And the only one that's going to track right here is git ignore. And that's perfectly fine because when someone pulls down this repo, they know, hey, these are probably dependencies they're going to need. But you don't need to download them from me when you instantiate your virtual environment locally and download your requirements.txt dependencies, right? You'll get your own folder. There's no need for me to push them up. Cool.
Guillermo, can't
Yep.
you also use the star or
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. You could say, hey, the star's a wildcard, anything that ends in this or anything that starts in this. Yes, absolutely. I just did it one by one just because it's
Right.
easier to kind of comprehend.
Right.
Alrighty, cool. We can take it from here. All right, so now what did we installed what? Django? And now we can do a what?
The Django dash admin.
Not yet. We
Yeah.
need to create a what?
Oh, okay.
A requirements txt file. All right, so now I have two changes. One of them has to be this. Perfect. Awesome. There we go. All right. So now what's left to do? I have my virtual environment. I've downloaded my requirements.txt file. Now I can create a what? I can create a.
Now you
Hey,
can
you
create
did.
a project.
Yeah. So how am I going to create it? You guys remember?
So I'm a little confused on the requirements one though. Is it because yesterday we didn't create a requirements text.
You didn't?
No, for the school project one, there was no requirements text.
We did a pip freeze to basically forward all of it to, I forget what the exact terminology is, to forward it to
Oh, yeah.
requirement.txt.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay.
So you did have one then.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for
Okay.
forgot about
No
that.
worries. All right. So we installed Django, right? We did our pip, right? Now what do we want to do?
Now you do the Django-admin and start project, whatever the project name you want to use.
Django-admin,
Mm-hmm.
and
Start,
then
start
start project. What do we want to call it? Pokemon? What you guys call it yesterday?
Oh, you gotta do it. Well, yeah, you gotta do start project before that.
I have to do start project. Are you sure?
What? No, not you go. So the Django-admin start project, all one word, and then the name of the project.
Let's call it
And
Pokemon,
yep, there you go.
like this.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know it worked?
Your folder that it created at the top.
Oh, cool. All right. Got a Pokemon folder. All right. Cool, 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 cool. Start project, and here we go. This is the command. Now what? Oh, we might have did it differently. I don't think it'll matter at all. The order here is a little different, but I don't think it matters. If it does matter, we'll delete it and redo it. It's not a big deal. So now what do we want to do? We want to start the project? Is this how you start it? This command? That's what it looks like.
Yep.
Like this?
Yep.
What's going to happen when I hit this command?
This is going to create the app. It's going to create the Pokemon app.
For them, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you forgot. You forgot
You
Python.
need Pokemon_app.
I can't do just Pokemon again. It has to be Pokemon app.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, you got to name it something else. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's give it a shot. That looks right.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I have a Pokemon folder and a Pokemon app folder. Okay, cool. Awesome. Can someone explain this to me? Why do I have a Pokemon app and then I have a Pokemon? What's the difference here? Pokemon is my application, and my application can have many what?
Apps.
There you go. That's the difference. Cool. So we created this Pokemon app, right? Now we need to add the Pokemon app to our settings py file. Where is that located? In our Pokemon project, settings, scoot down. And here, what are we adding down here?
The Pokemon app.
Pokemon app. Boom. Save.
Mhm.
Then we're going to run Django. There's just a Python command, this. And then I should see what's been up here. The command kind of gives it away here.
Yeah, it's going to start the server.
Yeah, let's see.
Here it is.
So you're saying if I do this, yeah, that's right, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, perfect. And look at that. I refresh it and I got that 200, right? I refresh it again, I should get another 200. Now I got 1,200,000. It's loading, right? Good stuff. All righty. So that works. So linking Postgres with Django. What do we want to do here?
Make a new file called docker compose.yml.
Okay, but where is it going to be?
At the root level.
At root? Okay. Docker compose dot is it YAML or YAML with an A? Yep. All right, cool. So here, I'm gonna have this. Yeah.
Yep.
How many containers is this?
It's only one, isn't it?
Which one?
The DB.
Yeah, it's just a database. All right, and then tell Django we want to use Postgres as our database instead of default SQLite. So we're going to make the change where exactly?
In the environment, there in the environment section.
Where's that? It's not the Docker Compose,
sorry.
it's not the requirements.
I'm sorry. It's right. Go down, scroll. The right there, database engine. Gonna take the engine and the name part out and change those out.
I'm going to change all of this out, no?
Yeah.
So it's this. So I'm not going to use SQLite. I am going to use Django Postgres, name Pokedex DB, username Postgres, Postgres localhost, and then my port number. That should work, right?
Yeah.
What is my terminal complaining about?
Let's see. What is it complaining about?
Oh, you need to pip install scicop G2.
Oh yeah, you gotta install that psychoc.
Okay. So Docker Compose up is not going to work. I have to install pip install scicob binary 2 or just 2?
You can do well.
I think I usually had to do binary.
You can, yeah.
Let's give it a shot. How can we test if this worked or not?
It don't look like it worked.
How do we check?
You can check if the version of Psycog 2 is on there, I guess. So Psycog 2 binary -v or -v.
So it was this.
Yeah.
You want to check this version?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not reading it.
Yeah, it's not in there. Yeah.
You could do a pip freeze to see what if it got installed.
Like this?
Minus the requirements, I guess.
Why minus the requirements?
Because that's going to overwrite the requirements document, and I'm just looking to see if it got installed.
Yeah.
But if it overwrites it and it's new, it should be in there, right?
Yep. Yeah.
What do we notice?
No, it's in there.
Alrighty. Let's assume it's there. Will a Docker Compose fix it now?
Yeah, it should.
Let's see.
Not to get that container in there.
It's because I don't have my Docker open. Yeah, that's probably it. Let me load it up, guys. I didn't fully spaced on that. All right, let's try it again. Docker Compose up. When I run this command, what are you expecting to happen here?
It's going to create the containers and images.
Okay.
You needed to do Docker Compose up -d, or else you can't get out of this environment here. Like, you're going to be stuck in that terminal.
All right, so how do I get out? Do I have to delete the terminal and restart it, or I can Control D, Control C? Control C does it. All right, so you're saying that I need Compose -D like this?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Let's try it again. It looks like it started already. How do I check?
Docker PS.
Okay, so what are we expecting here?
Contain DB, I guess, that DB container. Yep. And there you
That
go.
works. So now what?
Doo, doo, doo. So now you got that running. You can do well. Now you want to start messing with your models, I guess, creating your models.
All right. How do I do that? I have one right here. I can use this one before we jump back into this next lesson. I have this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's work with this one.
Okay.
Pokemon app, and we're going where? Models.
Models, yeah.
All right. There's nothing in here, but I can do this. Right?
Yeah.
Then I can. What does this command do?
That right there runs the SQL queries and creates the model for you.
Okay. Let's see. Looks like it worked.
Yeah.
Where in here would I go in here to look to check if that actually did work?
You can
In the migrations folder under Pokemon app.
there you
Yeah, I
go.
could.
And there's a command you can run as well.
Yeah, that looks right. All right, cool. So I made the migrations, I got it there. It's just generated migrations. This is exactly what you just said. Folder is just generated called migrations. Look inside and you can see it. Is there anything in that database right now?
No.
Let's put this in the database. How do we do it? There's nothing in there. How do we put this in here?
You go to you do the Python manage shell command if you want.
This right here?
Yeah.
Where? Where?
Just well inside you got to be in the virtual environment first.
I am in the virtual environment.
Are you in it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah, you can just run it from there then.
Here, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go into which shell here?
You're gonna go into the Python shell.
Don't you need to be in your Pokemon, the project folder, because you're calling manage PY, right? No?
Right?
Let's try it.
Okay.
Where am I though?
Yeah, you are in the well, you're in the Django project folder.
I am in the Django project folder END, and it
Mm-hmm.
looks like I went into a Python shell. But where specific am I inside the container? Like I don't know where I am.
Let's see what you're saying.
I need you guys to tell me where am I here?
Yeah, I forget
Because
what.
what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to put Pikachu inside of my database, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to put Pikachu inside of my database, right? But we don't know where we are, so that's a little bit of an issue.
Well, hmm.
So let's try that again. Where's our database?
Oh, you're already in it. Well, when you do the
No, I'm not
shell,
in it.
well, I'm saying when you do your Python manage shell command, it automatically puts you inside of that container, right? The DB container.
Is that correct?
Yes. I stand by. I stand by it.
How would you
Well,
prove that that is right?
that I don't know. I just feel it in me bones, man.
No, that's not good enough. Guys, we're doing a lesson that you guys did yesterday, right? So I'm just asking you to, hey, recreate it for me. I wasn't here yesterday. We needed to continue with our lesson, right? So we've actually gotten pretty far. We have the database running. Be totally dope if we could get this Pokemon in there,
Yep.
right? So here, Pokemon, this execs me into the database, it looks like. Pokemon DB. It says no such container. What's wrong here? Dr. Exec, Pokemon example DB, PSQL.
Your container name is wrong. It has to match the Django project DB1, not Django Pokemon example.
So what is mine?
Yours is Django underscore project tac DB tac1.
Good call.
Yep.
Django project DB. This, right? Django project DB1. That right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I go in here, I'm going to go into the container. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the container. I'm actually in the database. So I can select star from, what's my database called?
Pokemon, isn't it? What is it called?
Pokemon DB?
All right. I'm in the Pokemon DB database. Is there any tables in there?
There's one, isn't there one?
What's it called?
Go back to your models. I forget the name what you use for the model.
Models. Sure.
I guess it'd be Pokemon. Yeah, Pokemon.
Okay. So I can do select star from Pokemon. This?
Yeah.
Is that a capitalization problem?
It looks like it.
Shouldn't be.
Oh. So there is no tables.
How would I check?
You can do /DT. Yep. Oh, you don't have any data, so we haven't added any yet.
We didn't do the migrate command. We only did the make migrations.
There we go. We're getting
Those are-
closer there. We're getting closer now. Okay, so what's the next command here?
What was it? It's the Python manage.py migrate.
This?
Yes.
That looks good. Okay, so we're in there. We're gonna go come back out. Gonna go back in there. We're gonna select star from Pokemon. No? But what's in here?
It's the Pokemon app Pokemon.
All right,
Okay.
so how do I, what is it? Switch? Is that what it is? Yeah? Switch. See, it's changed, right?
That's a new one to me, but yep.
Nope, that didn't get me there. I need to get to that table.
You would just do the select all from Pokemon app Pokemon, and it should give you it'll be an empty table, but it should have the name and the level there.
There we go. This?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So this is right? We had our tables mixed up, but it's Pokemon app Pokemon. Cool. So we're there. It's empty, right? Get me out of here. Cool. So we know we did that, right? Awesome. Perfect. Now the only thing that I'm asking is how do we input this?
You have to go into the shell, which is going to be the Django shell.
Django shell. So this one right here. So this
Yes.
one's right. Okay, cool. I'm in there. Cool. And I'm literally just gonna do this. That's it. Oh, yeah, paste is fine.
Did you import it first?
No, failed it. Let's do this one line at a time. Import what?
Import Pokemon app models, import
No,
Pokemon.
I didn't. I need to run this.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna run this. What does this do?
You're just importing the models, the app models from Pokemon.
Okay, so I'm gonna import this. That looks like it did what it's supposed to, maybe. Right now, I'm gonna cut this. Boom. Now I'm gonna save it.
Mhm.
How do I know that that was good?
Now you can look at you can run that you can go back, you can exit out of that and select that command again that you used inside of, yeah, there you go.
Select star from
Mm-hmm. Pokemon.
Pokemon DB Pokemon, right? Is that what it was? This
Was it that?
I know it's Pokemon app.
Yeah, Pokemon
app.
app.
That's right. App Pokemon. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. There you go.
nice job.
Ta-da!
That works.
Yep.
Boom. Nice job. Uh, could I have gone anywhere else in here and checked?
Yes.
Show me.
If you go back to the shell, in the Python manage.py shell,
No, I don't want to use a shell. I want to look through my folders.
um, should be, I don't remember what it is. I think it's definitely in one of these files.
Can I search for Pikachu? No, we put Pikachu in there, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
Pikachu. No, Pikachu's not in there. So the only way to check is to go into the shell and query it then.
Hmm.
Yeah. We're not loading the data from any file, right? We're strictly using CLI. So we're adding it via the CLI, right? There's no history of it here, right? A little different than what we were doing before, right? When you were loading a file. Could you load a file? Could you create a little script that loads that database immediately?
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, of course you could, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, boom. All right, back to our normal lesson. All right, so improving our Pokemon model. We literally just have, right now, we have Pikachu in there, level 12. That's it. That's the only thing we have in there. All right, so migrate or updated Pokemon model, Python manage.py. We already did it. Make migrations, manage, migrate. If we need to change the model, we're going to have to run those commands again. All right, so here we talk about entering the shell. Importing Pokemon. That's the thing you were talking about, Cisco, right? And we can go ahead and like if I go to in that shell again, if I go in that shell again, I can put Charizard in there, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm gonna put Charizard in there. Pokemon is not defined. That didn't work.
Yeah,
Why?
you have to
Right.
adjust the model to account for the new parameter captured.
Yeah. So how do I do that?
go into your models PY, and in that Pokemon class, we can add what's it? Captured.
Yeah. Captured and models what? This is a
Oh, Boolean field.
Boolean field. And Boolean field is that a param? Well, let's look. Do you see Boolean field anywhere in here?
Yep, right there.
Where?
Right there. The third one.
Boolean field?
Mm-hmm.
This is right then.
Yep, you don't need anything else inside of it necessarily. Because it defaults to true.
Okay, cool. All right. So I've effectively edited my model. Now I have a captured models Boolean field. Cool. So if I go back down, right? Now what do I have to do? I'm trying to add this Charizard. That's what we're at here. I'm trying to add this Charizard.
You have to run the make migrations and migrate commands again.
Okay. So I have to do Python. What's the
Uh,
command?
Python manage.py make migrations.
Make migrations. What's the next command? Select an option. It is impossible to add non-nullable field captured to Pokemon without specifying a default. This is because the database needs something to populate existing rows. What is this error saying right here? This is really important. It's telling you what's wrong.
Um,
Line 1 right there.
it is saying that we already have data in the table that does not have a value for this.
What data is that?
It's our Pikachu.
Yeah, Pikachu doesn't have captured. So we need to give captured a default value because that value is going to be what for Pikachu?
Empty.
Yeah, we need to give it something. What's a Python? Is it false like this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So right here it says provide a one-off default now or quit manually define the default value in model. We're going to select 2 because we're not going to give a one-off default here because what did I just do on line 9?
You changed it.
I changed it. So we're going to select 2 and get out of here. We're going to try that again. We're going to make migrations. I shouldn't get that error again, but because now in line 9, I've given a default false, right? So Pokemon is going to have a default false for Pikachu, and when I bring Charizard in there, it's going to have a captured true. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. See, this should work without any problems. It worked without any problems. So I make migrations. Then what's the next step?
The manage.py migrate.
Migrate. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. It says applying Pokemon.app, Pokemon captured. Sweet. That worked. So now I can simply go into my shell, right? Yes?
Yeah.
Go into my shell. Do I need to insert this line that I have highlighted? Let's try
You
doing it.
Yeah, you need to.
You need it or you don't need it? Which is it?
You do need it.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's try it without it first.
Okay.
I'm going to try to put my Charizard in here, and I shouldn't get an error because I've already amended my model and I've migrated. So I'm going to bring in my Charizard, and I'm going to check if I throw an error. It shouldn't throw an error. Let's see. It did throw an error. It can't identify Pokemon. Okay, so you need it. Boom. Okay, no error. Now I can bring in my Charizard. Awesome. You did need it, Cisco. Nice job. Right now I'm going to save it. Now, how do I check if both my Pokemon are in there? And the default value for my Pikachu captured is false, and it's true for Charizard. How do I check? I just go into the container, right? And I can
Yes.
select what?
All from Pokemon at Pokemon.
And that's
Okay.
because I wrote Pokemon.
Yeah. There you go.
Captured Pikachu false. Captured Charizard as I brought him in true. Yes?
Yeah.
Easy. Cool. Alrighty. So if I print John now, I'll see a useless Pokemon object. Let's go back into the shell. This is what this is telling you. I'm going to go back into my shell and I am going to print Charizard. Print Charizard, and I'm going to see it says Charizard is not defined. Why is that?
Because you have to do the make migrations and the manage migrate again.
Why is that?
Because every time you change the database, you have to update it.
No, but I didn't change it this time. Right, I just want to go do this right here. I want to print Charizard, and it's not letting me.
You have to tell it where to look by doing the from Pokemon app dot models import Pokemon.
Okay, so you're saying that I need this because I came out of the shell,
Yes.
and it doesn't know where to look
Yes.
because shells are ephemeral, and you close them, all the data in them goes where?
Yeah. Away.
Way.
Yes. That's a really important concept for you to know as a programmer. Shells, regardless of where they are ephemeral. Learn that word, learn that concept. It will save you some heartache. There you go. Okay. So I
Save you all
told
that
him,
again.
okay, but Charizard is already in there. I shouldn't have to do it again, right?
Okay.
All right, so let me look at print here, right? And nope, Charizard, so I'm doing it all again. Okay. I'm gonna go in there, avoid coming out of my shell before doing that. That was a mistake. All right, so it's in there. Let's see if I can do this now this time. I literally just want to print my Charizard. Nope, messed that up. Print Charizard. Boom. And I expect to see a.
Yeah, 3 of them. You got an extra
Let me put
Charizard.
there. That's fine. All right, I print it, and what is this printing?
Pokemon, the amount of objects you got inside of the table.
Yeah, which isn't very helpful, right? In the GUI, I mean, in the terminal, this isn't very GUI. Isn't very useful, I should say. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a class to our models. You just saw the printing of an instance that returns Pokemon object, insert some number here. We want to be able to actually see our Pokemon details. Let's add a couple methods to our Pokemon model to increase its usefulness. This is the exact same thing you did for OOP, and you're going to use the exact same methods, like a dunder method, and then other kinds of methods where you can concatenate the string for it to be more useful, right? So here we are. This is our class Pokemon, right? I'm going to come out of this. D. I always used to doing Control C. Okay, cool. So here is our class Pokemon. All we have to do is add this, right? Nope, that's not working. Try that again. All right, let's go. This should work. All right, so now I have a class Pokemon, and this class Pokemon has a dunder method that's going to return, hey, my name was captured, right? And it's just going to return my name and whether he was captured or not, that Boolean value, right? It's going to raise a Pokemon's level here, and it's going to change caught status, right? And these two both take what? A parameter, right? But remember, this is just a Python class, right? So Python classes can have these methods, right? All right, so now we've altered our models, right? that says we don't need to make migrations for class methods, right? So let's go back into the Django Python shell and test out these methods. Okay. So you're saying that if you add methods, a method is just what? Don't overthink it. It's just
function.
yeah, it's just a class function. That's all it is. Right? There's functions, but if someone says a method, you know it's just a function attached to a class. That's it. Nothing more to it. Alrighty. So this says, hey, you don't need to make migrations for these class methods. So we can just go back into our Python shell, right? You can go back into our Python shell here and test out these methods. So we're going to go in there and I'm going to do it one by one just so I don't mess it up. Feel free to follow along. I'm going to get Charizard with ID 1. And I am going to print Charizard. I don't know what this is doing. Explain this sequence of events to me right here.
Interaction console from Pokemon import Charizard. ID Pikachu is yet to be caught.
Is it pulling Pikachu because it's pulling the whatever ID was number 1?
Yeah, very good. Right? And it's just pulling this information here from the dunder method. Right? You could easily. This assumes that Pikachu wasn't in there, but we put Pikachu in there first, right? This is lesson 2. It's assuming that we put Charizard first. Good job. All righty. So here, Charizard has been captured, right? But we could actually change this. We can stop messing around. And we know that this guy's 2. And actually, we put him in there twice. Right? So this is Charizard. Messing this up. Charizard. I'm gonna keep messing that up. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm not that familiar with this Python shell. All right, Charizard. What is going on here? I give up. I messed that up. Sorry, guys. So let's try that one more time. Charizard. That was not deleting like I had hoped. All right, let's try that. We're gonna go in 1. No, I didn't do that. Okay, cool. And then Charizard. There you go. Now we got it right because we know Charizard is 2 and 3. All right, perfect. We can go ahead and what is this right here? This command. That's the last one.
That's
Oh yeah, that's your.
It's a what?
it's the method
Yep.
from model.
It's getting class Charizard from the model Charizard, right? It's running the method change caught status. It's passing a parameter false and it's changing it. Simple?
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm back. Sorry. Let me wrap this up here. All right. So Charizard, we're now going to go into that. The last thing really for today is here, Django admin site. Admin site is just a little GUI that you're going to be able to use. So when people ask what are the benefits of Django over other web frameworks, the admin is what usually comes to mind. Nice little GUI. So far, we've utilized the shell, but if you know something about using all these shells, they get kind of tedious and they're slow, right? Benefit of using a shell is you're not limited by anything. You can do anything in the shell, right? But the not so great things about it is it's typically pretty slow. So first, let's register a Pokemon model on the Django admin site. So let's go ahead and do that now. So how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this?
Gonna go into the admin PY,
The app PY, where's that at?
the admin.
Admin PY. Okay, it's here.
And then looks like you're just gonna
Just copy this.
copy that.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
I'm going to copy that. Now, before entering the admin site with Django, we must create a super user to log into the admin site, right? So here, this looks like a what kind of command? This is just a terminal command, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run it. I'm going to run it. And what is this going to do? Screwed that up. What is this command going to do? Python manage.py create super user. It's going to
Yeah, it's going to create a super user for the Django
admin site.
admin site. Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, username leave blank. Use Gmo. Where did it pull Gmo from?
User.
Whose user?
Yours.
Hey, be more specific.
What's your user in your MacBook here?
Yeah. Our email address, 123@aol.com. Password, 123. Password again, 123. I don't know if it is going to allow me to make it such a short password. We're gonna figure it out. That didn't work, guys. Bypass password validation and create user anyway. No, let's do this right. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, cool. I created a user successfully. Alrighty, finally, we're ready to enter the admin site to interact with the model. I am going to run server. What do you expect to see when I run this?
Server address.
But but it's not going to be the same one as before. It's going to be a what? Let's see. It's exactly the same as the one before.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my admin site then?
You got to do /admin to get to that.
How did you know that?
Experience.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah, I've played around with Django before.
Alrighty, so we're there, right? So we run the server and we can get to it. How do I log in here?
Using that Gmo and your password, whatever it is. There it goes. Everyone's. Oh, so
There you go.
dang it.
No, you're good. And not only this, here's my Pokemon app, guys. And here are my Pokemons. Right? Users, Gmo. Here's my, sorry, let me use this. I'll make this bigger. Here's my user, 123fake, AOL.com. Here's my app with my Pokemon. I can even actually delete things. I can add Pokemon. Let's do Squirtle. Squirtle. I don't even know how to spell that. Let's do level 7. And he's captured. I'm going to save it. Boom. I got a Squirtle in there. How would I check if I got a Squirtle in there?
You just go back to your database.
Okay. And How do I check my Squirtle is in my database?
Do you select all from your table?
From my container, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am in here. I can select star from
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon app, Pokemon,
Mm-hmm.
and I expect to see how many Pokemon in here?
Is it 4 now?
Is it 4?
Yeah.
Level 7. True. Squirtle. So once you get the GUI going, you don't have to input everything by hand. Uh, Truth be told, top secret, don't tell anyone. You could just create a file and just create all your data for it if you really wanted to. Nothing super from that. All right, let's wrap this up. This is getting kind of long. School API 2 is your assignment. If you did not get School API 1 to work, you need to focus on School API 1 because this builds off of each other. And if you can't figure out the API 1, School API 2, and then School API 3, you're really going to struggle with your personal project. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you couldn't get API 1 to work, School API 1 to work, don't worry about it. Just start there right now. Questions before we break for dinner and we cut you loose on School API dose.
Nope. Turn me loose, coach.
All right, guys, go ahead and take like 15, 20 minutes for dinner. Come back and get started. I'll go ahead and open the breakout rooms, okay?
All right.
Nice
Cool.
job. How do we
Pretty,
do?
pretty dang good.
Good?
Right, fine.
So far, so good.
Yeah, how far did we get?
I had to make an entirely new one because the one we did yesterday was based off like a different repository. So I'm rebuilding it from
Yeah,
scratch.
that's totally fine.
Yeah. But it's going well. Like not having trouble yet.
Good. What
I
about
came across
everyone
something
else?
really cool.
Yeah?
Well, I'm rebuilding also, and when I try to when I try to run the server, it gave me an error message and said that maybe I'm dating myself, but it said I misspelled Pokemon. And I kind of spelled it like Pac-Man. And so I
No
got an error
worries.
message. And so I go into installed apps, and as soon as I correct the text, it automatically ran without me doing anything else. I thought that was super cool.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're just kind of chugging along on that.
Nicole, Cisco, Joe?
Doing pretty good. I'm just trying to work on the methods. I ended up remaking mine just because I know I was having issues with it yesterday, so I just wanted the extra uh practice. But I do find that I don't know why it is, but sometimes I guess when I pip install stuff, it doesn't do it right, and it won't be able to find some of the modules. And then what I end up doing is just kind of starting over and redoing it, and then it works right that time. So I don't know if there's something I am doing or I'm not sure. But I have it working now, so
That's good. So it's kind of interesting thing. I talked to a friend once, and he's been a software engineer for a long time, and he said there's no sometimes in software engineering. But the more that I'm in this field, the more I realize there is a sometimes in software engineering. So that could be just kind of a glitch uh, in the matrix a little bit where it shouldn't happen, but sometimes that it does. I don't have an answer for you, but you're not crazy is the only thing I want to convey. That sometimes does happen.
oh yeah, I realized that one I did install it, but for some reason on my VS Code it switched my Python interpreter to like my homebrew one instead of my virtual environment one. So it like once I switched it back, it was working. So I don't know if it's just maybe it's for some reason switching me into the wrong Python.
That is very possible. So there are sometimes in software engineering, sometimes it does get glitchy, right? You ever have your computer freeze, but then you restart it and it's just fine. But why did it freeze, right? There's no reason for it sometimes. So it does happen, but it's also very possible that it's a small nuance like that where you had a different version running locally, right? And you're trying to install a different Python version in your ENV. That does happen. Check
But
bottom right-hand corner of your VS Code. Make sure you're running the same one.
yeah, that one fixed it today. I know the other day I was having an issue with that, and it was actually, I think it was the requirements.txt, like it just wasn't in, it had like older versions or something that was not
Yep.
compatible. And
Mhm.
so what I had to do was redo it, and install just the main ones and then create a new requirements.txt. And then it
Yep,
worked.
because it takes the functioning file and it freezes it, right? That version.
Yeah. So I had to, that was the issue I was having with those the other day, but I was just playing around with it, trying to make sure I could figure out at least what the issues were so I know how to fix them.
Very good. Yeah, you're going about it the right way. And that dependency problem, now you're starting to get kind of a little bit of taste of what I was mentioning weeks ago about when you start getting into this like dependency hell situation where, you know, you have 30 packages and half of them are compatible with this version, but then the other half is not compatible with that version. So what do you do? You know? So at that point, you actually have to hard code the specific versions and literally go one by one in the worst case scenario. So that does happen sometimes. Cisco, how are you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. I'm completing the student status function right now, or method, and just gonna test it and put some add some changes to the table and see if it runs as expected. Now, one thing I am coming across though, before I actually implemented the new methods, I just tried to run my test file, and I'm getting an error about importing the modules. It's basically saying import error, attempted relative import with no known parent package for student, or for the student model, which is weird because it's exactly the same as the, you know, previous one in the first application. So,
Okay, that's actually really important. Let's go over that briefly here. Okay, so this is what you should have from yesterday. Just quickly did it. That works. Dr. PS. Dr. PS, you see my database running SchoolDB1. You see I literally just did it 18 minutes ago. Okay, so the next thing you should have done here is if you read through the little README, it says, hey, replace the test.py file with the one in this application, right? So you go literally to test.py, right? You copy this, and then you go to test.py and you paste it, right?
Right.
That's exactly what I did,
Right.
right? So if you did that, it should work. Here, I can run and see it was only 2 commands away because I just ran it, right? And this should fail all 10 tests, right? Because I haven't written hardly anything, right? Run it, sure enough, I get 10 failures. This is how it's supposed to work, right? Now, after this, you can do a little TDD, right? Test-driven development, right? And kind of go through them and see what exactly it's testing. So I haven't written any code for API 2, but let's look through it. I know that when my application is complete, it must pass all of these tests, right? So I know, let's go test one. And I could literally just go to test file and read it, right? Or I could just read the error. We're going to work on reading the error because that's a lot of the times what you're going to be doing, right? So here it says, hey, type error student got unexpected keyword arguments, student email, personal email, locker room combination. So this is kind of telling me that I'm missing something, right? So this is not fleshed out. So if I look at my class, I go to models. Yeah, that makes sense. This is all I have. And actually, I hadn't looked at it when I was creating it to make sure it worked, and I literally just wrote great. That's actually not one of them, I don't think. I just made that up. Okay. So did you have your import right?
Yes, I have my import correct. That is, let me go back here. So let me open up test. So yes, my import is correct. I got import. Yeah, I got
Share
from
your screen
model.
with me. I'm intrigued here. We're gonna do some team debugging here.
Let me set up there. Move out of my way. Okay. So this is what I have. Got, import models from student, and let me put it side by side here. Oh, jeez. I hate when it does that. Put it side by side here. So here's the model, and then here's the test, which is exactly the same from yesterday, and I got it to work just fine. So I don't know why it's not working.
Your test is failing, right?
Yes, so down here,
Raise that up.
yeah, so here's the begin. So when I run it, says check no issues, error test, unit test, loader failed test, failed to import test module test. And it's saying here something about the loader find test path module, self get module from name. I don't know if it's like a Python module that's not, which is strange.
Look at your folder.
Shouldn't
Let me see your folder structure.
Yeah, so here is maybe I just need to.
All right.
So I got this is the project, this is the app, it's the Docker Compose, the requirements text, all that's in there.
Close everything till you have one folder. Just one folder API 2. That's it.
Okay.
No, close API 2. All right, so now we're just going to go into API 2. Okay, click on that. So you have API and you have proj and then the app, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you running your test file?
I'm running my test file right inside it, school API 2. Let's see here, right in the root, and do the LSLA. So you got to manage here, and I'm just running it from there.
Bring your thing up. I can't see it. Why can't I see the bottom of your terminal?
Because the Zoom is probably blocking it. Hold on here. No, I don't want to do that. So let me do this a couple of times here. So yeah.
Okay.
I see the problem.
What's the problem?
There's a wait. Is it test this? Nope. Wait. Should
It's
be
just
test, right?
test. Just test.
Cisco, did you drag it into your student app folder?
No, I just copied it from student one, and then I pasted
Oh,
it
dude,
in.
you don't know where you're at, man.
Huh?
You
No.
don't know where you're at.
What do you mean?
Test is inside of a student app. It's not at root of API 2.
Oh,
did
okay.
that same thing yesterday, Cisco.
Oh,
Rookie
okay.
mistake, bro. Rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake,
That's
man.
right. That's right. That's right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Okay.
To be fair, though, I didn't even notice it until you guys said it again, even though I did the same damn thing.
No worries. Work on that there, Cisco.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Two most important tenets of Linux, what are they?
Know where you're at?
Know where you're at and
Who you are. I don't
who
know.
you are. Who you are. Believe it or not, there'll be
You
some
got
like
it, Joe.
mid-level devs that run into that. You'll like copy, delete, break everything, delete everything, rebuild it, and you're just wondering what's happening. And then like 3 hours later, you realize, oh, I was running it in the wrong spot. Every developer has that. The better you get at understanding the tenants and understanding where you are, the better off you're going to be. Happens all the time. It's going to happen to Cisco another 100 times probably. It's happened to me another 100 times, and just keep that in mind. Very, very important. Yeah, so when you start kind of building complexity, right? Now you're running applications that are containerized, right? You've already had a little bit of introduction to deploying onto AWS, right? That's a whole different ball of wax, right? Remember, now you're starting to kind of remember when I said, oh, you can be on this local environment, right? But then if you're inside a container, that's its own solid environment, right? But then if that container is deployed on EC2, that's different still, right? Good. All right, I'm glad you figured that out. Let's go back to this. I think we were stuck on this real quick. And I just want to kind of go over the errors, and then I'll cut you loose here in a second. Boom. You can see my screen, right? With my errors. All right, so this is my class is missing these. I don't really know what test 2 is. I mean, sorry, got to go all the way to the top, sorry. This one is telling me there's unexpected keyword arguments. This is more of the same. All right, I don't have them, so they should be testing these things. So it's telling me, hey, I'm missing all this. So have we gotten this far? Boom, test models. Here is, I need a name, max length 255, that's fine. And here, I don't have grade, I have student email, right? And that's gonna be what?
That is going
Model.
to be
Models.email fields. Or yeah, I guess char field, I guess works.
Char field, max length.
Oh, you know what? I know
you're
what.
gonna need to change that to email field, Guillermo, for it to pass the test.
That's yeah, it was throwing me an error before too. I think I had to make it email field.
Email field, okay, that works. Email field.
Yeah.
All right, email field, max length 255. That work?
I think it's 255 or 254.
255. 255. And then what's an important thing here? It needs to be what?
Null, false.
No.
It needs, so you need to have blank equals false and
No.
Unique true.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about for the, well, yeah.
But yes, it could be some of those, the ones that you mentioned, but the one I was looking for is unique true because not two students can have the same email address, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it has to be unique true. Then we can go into personal email. That's another thing they wanted, right? So was that right? Yep. Personal email. And that's more or less the same, right? Except with what differences?
Except for what differences?
It's kind of what you just said earlier.
Oh, the blank false.
Let's do blank true. We'll allow it for them not to have one, although it doesn't really make sense too, right? And then null can be true. Why not? Right. You can play with that however you want for now. Personal email. Next one's going to be locker room number, but I'm not going to give you that one. That one's easy. What's the next one? Locker combination, and then good student is just a Boolean, right? And then when you get into the methods, what's the first one that you have to do?
It is the locker reassignment or the string. Yeah.
The string, that's what? It's just reading who he is, right?
Yeah.
Self name. And then, some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give you everything, take all your work. But what are the other two methods you need to work here? And you were saying it?
Locker reassignment.
Reassignment.
Mm-hmm.
And what does this take?
A number, integer. I did number.
Just call it new number. That's fine. New number. And what is this going to do?
Going to change the locker number to the new number.
It's some function that changes the locker number.
Mm-hmm.
The locker number
to a new number
of a student to a new number of a student to a new number. So you're going to have to do that to a new number, right? So that's going to be that function. And then the last function is just what?
Student status.
And what is that going to do?
It is going to change the student status from whether they're good or not a good student.
Whatever. And if I wanted to, why is that throwing an error right there? What am I missing here? My indentation's wrong?
Oh, yeah, you got to put return or something there past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
past is fine. Okay, cool. So here I missed, what did I miss? Locker number and locker combination, right? Combination, and the last one was good student, right?
Yeah.
There you go. That's it. Those are all your models for this. So once you finish that, what would be the next thing? Let's say hypothetically we had it done. Now what?
Uh, is it composed up and is the server running?
Let me check Docker PS. Let me check my database. Database is running. My new Docker Compose, let's look at it. That looks right. Database is already running. What are we missing here? You changed the model, so what needs to happen here?
Migrations.
So what are the two commands?
Python make migrations.
And then
Python migrate. I believe.
migrate. Yes. Is there anything else we're missing, or does that work?
You got to put manage py in front of them. Python manage.py might make migrations, then same
Okay.
thing.
I'm confused.
What's confusing, Cisco?
uh, pay me no mind. I'm talking to myself.
All right, here we go. We're going to try it. Python manage py, make migrations. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah.
All right. Is this going to work if I run this? Look at my models. Will this work?
Well, your models don't actually have.
Let's look at it. Does this work? If I run this, I'm gonna get something or no? Or is it gonna throw an error?
It's probably going to throw an error. Actually, I don't know.
No, it looks like it might.
That's-
Yeah, no,
yeah.
it'll work.
That's
work.
What's wrong with it? There doesn't appear to be anything wrong with it, really. It's incomplete. Yeah, but I do have that done there.
Yeah,
That will work, right?
Yeah. It looks like it'll work to me. You
All
got
right, let's look. Make migrations. Ooh. Throw an error. Let's look at it. What's the issue here?
Oh, you haven't installed the Django. I'm sorry, I keep saying the Django yet, have you?
Pip
Looks like-
install Django.
Yeah, it looks like it can't find it.
Already satisfied.
Okay.
So let's do it. Let's watch that error again. So if I do make migrations, did I spell that right?
Yeah. Bootstrap.
Did
Doesn't-
you
Black is.
Expected keyword argument. Black. Where's black?
It's in the personal email.
Oh, you have black and personal email. You have
Oh,
black.
black.
Yeah.
Blank. Got it. Look at you guys. Alrighty. Let's try that again. Make migrations. Provide one-off default, quit and manually define default value in models. What's the answer here?
2.
2. All right. Let's try that again. What is it asking me for?
See, student email to student without specifying a default. So you need to specify a default for the student email. It appears.
Sure.
And it needs to be none.
I can do that. Does that work?
Mm, does it? No, not none in parentheses. I thought it's just none. You try it.
This?
Yeah.
Alrighty. That looked like it worked. And now it's Python what?
Migrate.
There it is.
Migrate?
Yeah.
Boom. That looked like it worked. How do we know that it worked?
It said okay.
Yeah, but how do we check that we
Oh,
effectively edited our models?
you
It was the
check.
easiest way to do it.
The easiest way to do it is that you go back into your Python shell or your yeah, you go back to the Python shell and go to the database.
This
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah. Whatever
what's
your
my
name.
database called? StudentDB or StudentsDB?
I think it's just
Student app underscore student, I think.
This?
Yeah.
And if we did it right, what am I going to see?
just gonna see the name.
No.
But you don't have any names,
I
just
mean the
a blank
empty,
table.
yeah, blank table.
Let's see
Invalid
DT.
syntax.
No.
You're in the wrong spot.
Oh,
You're in
Oh
the
yeah,
the database.
yeah.
yeah,
You
we
got
need to go into PSQL that
Yeah, Docker exec tech. Yeah.
there you go.
I am going to go into what's my DB called?
You gotta look at it.
I believe it's Django underscore project DB1.
For the one that I just created?
Thanks.
I think
Docker PS. Let's look at my database. It's called
Oh,
School DB1.
School DB1. Yeah, I always look at it.
Okay, so let's look at it. Docker exec, and the database is School DB1. Is this right?
No, that's wrong.
What's right?
That's wrong. School DB1 needs to go.
There.
Here?
Yeah.
What goes at the end?
School DB.
So it's PSQL H host 1534, and then it's just this.
Is it underscore DB? I don't know what you named it. I can't.
That looks right.
Yeah.
All right, so here I can go in there and student app. So it would be a select star from student app student. Does that work? And I should have what? Just 3 columns, right? Empty.
Yeah.
I have 4, and I have an ID. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That works. Good. Here's kind of a side challenge for you.
I have a question if that's all right.
Yeah.
Why do you have to do Docker exec? Why can't you just go PSQL and then from basically just cut off the Docker exec part and go right into the database from there? Because I was running it that way and it seemed to be working. So like the command was basically the latter half. So PSQL-H localhost-P 5454-U Postgres-D school DB. I could Slack it to you if you want to try it.
Nope. I'm going to answer your question right now. What's wrong with what you just asked?
I don't
Or
know.
what's the answer to what Joe said? He said, "Hey, do we have to exec into the Docker container? I can get to it straight away."
I guess am I doing it this way? I'm only connecting to it locally and not into the container that I composed up.
Those are 2 different databases, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that.
You created it in the wrong spot. It should be inside the Docker container.
All right, well, let me try to do in the way. Let's do all the things that you want to do, all right?
You see that? That's a great question. And it was an incredibly genuine question, right? Like, I don't really want to get too much into it, right? But it's an instance of Postgres that you have locally. But the instance of Postgres in your Docker container is completely different.
All right, run that test file.
Oh, oh no.
I'm still having
No, it's
problems. It's
you're all jacked up, Cisco. I have faith. Here's what you do. Don't drag the test file. Copy and paste it from GitHub. Find the test file in the repo for School API 2 and just paste it in there. And then
all
you won't
right.
have any trouble.
Okay.
Joe, did I
Okay.
answer your question, dude?
Sorry, I was looking for the unmute. Yeah, you did. Now I'm gonna try this, and if it doesn't work, got it working. I was like, no, I'm good, dude.
He was writing in the complaint to Docker and Postgres. That's what he was
Yeah,
working on.
yeah. Right. And
Yeah.
the answer is there was no way to skip it. You have, in order to go to someone's bedroom, you have to go into their house. There's no way around that. This is very similar to that, right? If the bedroom is a database and the house is Docker, there's no way to get there unless you get in the house first. Let's assume it's like a bedroom inside the house. It doesn't have a window to the exterior. You know what I mean? I took some creative liberties there, on the analogy, but you get the idea. Make sense?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Be back up in like 30 minutes. See if you guys can finish this, and then we'll have someone present. Sound good?
Yeah.
Alrighty. How do we do?
I started over.
Did you get the test thing to work?
No, I'm
Come on, Cisco.
well, I started over with the whole fresh install, completely just yeah. So no. Okay, my migrations worked. Okay.
Okay, progress. How about everybody else?
Good. Solving the problems I needed to.
Solve the problems? Good. Let's go over just kind of just a broad overview of what the answer was. Did anybody finish by chance?
Not finished. I'm still going through all the tests. I have 3 that are passing and the rest are hitting the like exceptions. They're getting the E's.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Yeah, I'm having
Cancel.
errors.
Cancel that. Actually, could you share, Nicole, and we'll walk through 1 or 2 of your errors? That might be more useful than me showing anything.
Yeah, please share.
All right, so which tests are we passing here?
So I have passed, let's see, a couple of them. So I just fixed the one here, which is why I got 7 now. I had to add a default as true. And I'm just kind of going up. So
Okay, so which one do you want to focus on next? How about that?
I was just going from the bottom up because it was easier.
Okay, so let's go to the bottom. Let's look at the bottom one.
So this one is staying test student object has no attribute assert.
Okay, it says object attribute has no assert. Did you mean assert in?
Yes.
But that's in all the test files, so I'm assuming I would have to go through and change that all here.
No, you don't change the test at all.
That's why but then I don't know what that means.
Cisco, what were you saying? Did you change the test?
No, I didn't change the test.
Okay, you shouldn't have to,
I changed.
right?
Right. You shouldn't change the test. You should go into
Okay.
go into your models and
Yeah, that's fine. Go all the way to the top. Let's look at another one. We want to avoid editing the tests. Now, this could happen if it was a version discrepancy, but we're not even going to go into that right now. Let's just go to hop to a super test. All right, let's go to this. Let's go to that second error.
This one has the same error. Attribute has no assert. Did you mean assert in? Let's go to the next one. Here, this one. Nope, that one's the same one. That's all.
Go to your test file. Wait, the test that you passed didn't have that, or they did have?
So, no, they had assert in.
So the one
No.
that you passed had assert in, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so test one passed, and which was the other one? I know 10 passed,
Let's look at it.
which is just the regular.
All right, do me a favor. Go highlight assert underscore. Highlight it. Right click. Highlight, and then right click, and then go change all instances. Change all occurrences, sorry.
Where is
Change all occurrences and change it to what they tell you to.
assert in?
Yep. Save, and then run it. This could be a version issue.
Let's see.
All right, let's try this again.
Now it's missing a, I don't know.
Let's go up, check if all of them have this error.
So test case missing one. That was 9, 8. Nope, this is a different one. So
Go
this
all the
is
way to the top.
I also got that validation error too.
validation. This one's missing
One positional
argument. Missing one argument. Missing one argument. Yeah. So two of them were giving validation errors. The other ones are giving these missing it argument.
Okay, testing assert missing one required positional argument container. Let's focus on just one of them. Which one do you want to focus on?
Could do this one too.
Oh, is it test 2? All right, let's look at the test. All right, so this is try new student create this specific student. Good student true, new student full clean, fail, validation as E print, assert the student email in e-message dict and personal email. Well, what is this checking?
This is checking to make sure that the student email and the personal email are.
Yeah, it's checking what?
That they're there.
Not just that they're there, but that they're what? Look at your second test. Look at the email.
Oh, that is an actual. That it's an actual email field.
Yeah, it's actually a valid,
Mhm.
right, email. So how are we going to try to pass that test?
So in my models, I use the emails field or email field.
Okay.
Because I think when I looked that up and it says it just makes sure that it's an actual email that's entered into that field instead of just using like a string.
Yeah, that passed the original. So that's kind of coming over from the first project. And that's what we had to change the email field to get that to pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I concur with that. I concur.
Okay. So why is it not passing then?
I don't have the
Is it supposed to be?
Let me look here.
I don't. Is it supposed to be? Is it because it's not giving like a message? Or no?
The thing is, you're not supposed to. You shouldn't be have to change the
Yeah.
test. That's why I'm like weirded out by why it's failing.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I was reading some of them. I was trying to figure out why is it telling me that the issue is in the test.
Yeah. So how about this? Go back to the usser underscore back to where it was before, and let's try to look at your class. I think we might be able to find it in your class. This error.
Okay. So in here?
Yeah. All right. So let's work on this. What's missing here? Char field, email, that looks right. Unique true for personal email, unique true, null.
Now I can add the blank in here.
Add the blank on personal email. All right, blank, true,
Mm-hmm.
true, null, true, unique. All right, for personal email. What about for student email? We have the unique and we have the length. Okay, that looks all right. Okay, so now locker number unique and why is the default 110?
Oh, because that's what it told me to do.
Yeah,
Lock
110.
default 110.
Yeah. It was here in the instructions.
Mhm.
Okay, integer field, it's unique, true. Okay, locker combination, max length 10. Max length 10, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, default 2 to 12. And then good students, just a Boolean default true,
Mhm.
Boolean field. Okay, so let's go back to that second test. And that second test is test student with improper email fields. So it's testing, you're getting a string in student email, and then you're getting a personal email Boolean and
Instead.
false, and this should fail, right?
Yes. So it's giving me like here it's giving me the E, so it's passing, but it's just not handling an error. Because yeah, it's test passed, E is unhandled error populated in test. So
Did you try printing E? Try print E and then print E message dict right there on line 56. Print both of those.
just take
Yeah, just uncomment that out and print E message dict, but also E by itself. And add like prefix strings to them so you know which one's which.
E, and then we'll do what is the no, not that one. Print. Nope. Oh my God. There we go. And yeah. Right. Like that. Let's see. Yeah,
Wait,
it's
wait,
I
what
don't know.
happened here?
I have no idea. Let me
You have extra brackets you don't need. You have one more bracket that you don't need. Yeah, get rid of that one.
Yep,
There
there
you
we
go.
go. Check. Okay. There we go.
All right, which one was it? Was this test two?
Two.
Okay, it says test student object has no attribute. Oh God, it's giving us this error again. But it said student email, enter a valid email address, person enter a valid email address. So what's the issue here? It's telling you actually right there, the validation error. It's telling you what?
Um,
Okay, this tells you what's wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
So what's wrong here? We're not gonna have time to fix it, but at least we can tell what's wrong.
it's not entering a valid email. They're not entering a valid email address.
Yeah,
Return.
both line 47, 48 are invalid email addresses. So what's happened? It's throwing that exception,
Mm-hmm.
right? So on new student full clean, right? That's when the validation is triggered. And self fail is, hey, if the full clean passes, fail. And that's why it's going into that error.
Okay.
All right. So how do we fix it? Is the money question here.
Mm. Anyone else? Anyone?
Well, they still would have to. So because of the test, um, we're testing to make sure that we get a validation error, correct? So therefore,
Correct.
in order to test it, we need to, in order to get that test to pass, uh, there needs to be something else either added or taken away from the models, I suspect.
All right. So what about the models need to change?
Well, since they forced us to put that information in there, um, I would say that
Uh,
I would say that blank. Well, for personal email here in the test, it looks like personal email equals false, and that's what's really failing, I believe.
Wait, what's failing again?
The personal email, actually, student email and personal email are failing that validation test.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hey, to get a little closer here, would it make sense to handle one at a time? Why don't we just alter the test and make one of them valid and the other one not valid and see if we can gives us a little bit more,
okay.
right? Why don't we give a valid personal email here on the test and check, do we get a different error?
Yep, you will. I did that yesterday.
Let's see here. Okay, so now it says full clean Django validation or student email, enter a valid email address. So the issue here is now
The
student email,
Mm-hmm.
right? So line 48 now works.
Right,
They can't handle a Boolean, right?
right.
So what does that tell us?
That tells us that you have to make sure that the emails that are entered are actually email fields and nothing else. No
Okay,
other
so
data
how
type.
how do we do that?
That's a good question.
Would we?
uh, let's see here. Let me go see what these other options are here for.
Would we just have to like print an error message?
No, no, this is built into Django. So Django should be able to clear it to figure it out.
Oh, it gets stored as empty strings. File field image. Yeah, I don't know how to force them though. How to force them to make sure that the
What field clear do you have? Check your test. New student full clean. Is that what you need?
new student full clean. Let's see. Insert bool. Keyword check clean. There's quite a lot to choose from. How about check? What about check? I don't know. It's check cards. A save. Save? New student save. New student dot save. Try that.
Where?
Instead of full clean. I'll just comment it out and then do new student dot save. Because aren't we saving the and then just try running that, see what happens. I don't know. Now that
Actual failure. Now it just says none.
Yeah.
I honestly have no idea.
All right, guys. I don't want to keep you guys. I'm going to go ahead and look at this right there, and I'll post the answer key here probably in the next 5-10 minutes. We'll wrap it up here. Try not to edit the test. I don't think the tests are wrong here. This
No.
looks right.